Anyone that knows me knows I am not exactly the most calm of drivers. You can take the boy out of New York City, but you can't take the New York City out of the boy. I think that's the best way to put it. The Rolls Royce, for some reason, has a very therapeutic charm. It changes your philosophy on things. In a Rolls Royce, you're never late to a meeting. You're simply held up.
Even when you're late, the people are happy to see you roll up in one of these.
Rolls-Royce has been under the stewardship of the BMW Group for, believe it or not, 14 years now. So it's time for things to grow. Enter the Rolls-Royce Ghost Extended Wheelbase. Mean Gene, you're just in time.
MotoMan, how are you?
Your kind of car. You're a Rolls-Royce guy.
It's Rolls Royce?
This is Rolls-Royce.
You want to know about Rolls Royce?
Absolutely. That's why I got this one.
Come on, I'll show you Rolls Royce.
Yeah, but this is the extended wheelbase.
Yeah.
Extra 6 inches.
Yeah.
2 televisions.
Only 2?
Night vision.
Rolls Royce is a philosophy, and it's not just the philosophy of having the best. That's not it. It's a salute to human artistic endeavor.
So wait, so the car is secondary. The transportation is completely
It
secondary.
does secondary to the art that it takes to create the machine to begin with.
Okay, so was I the only one not following Mean Gene on his whole philosophy here? I think we should ask him to give us a graphic demonstration of what he is talking about.
This is a Rolls Royce flat washer. They're throughout the entire car. And at first glance, they look like a normal flat washer, but they're not. They're only flat on one side, and they're convexed on the other side. And they're made that way so that they radiate the torque down and out. And when you tighten these with a nut or a bolt, you'll never see these washers bend.
I will say I did expect a powerful engine, but not quite this. I mean, this thing flies. You hit the gas and it's just downright fast.
Yeah.
This is not a slow car at all. It completely defies all laws of physics. The size of this car, the weight of this car, you don't expect it to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Imagine if we took that engine and put it into like an Exige.
There is an anti-sway bar in the back of this car. And like most anti-sway bars, it goes from the lower control arm on one side of the car to the lower control arm on the other. And it helps stop the leaning and pitching of the body when you go around corners and turns. But unlike most other anti-sway bars, this one has a hydraulic valve in the center of it, and it receives fluid under pressure from a pump in the engine compartment. And when you go into the turns, it resists the leaning and pitching. Now, I've driven lots of Rolls Royces in my life, and handling's not their strong suit. So I wasn't expecting much when we were to road test this car. It's a 6,500 pound car. And I was shocked to find that this car is downright nimble.
Yeah, how does this car connect to the older rollers?
One of the most obvious ways is these air conditioning bullseyes and the knobs or handles that push and pull and turn them on and off.
It's almost like a caricature of itself. Even down to that mirror switch.
Yes.
It's lifted straight out of a Rolls from the time gone by.
These air conditioning bullseyes have been a Rolls-Royce tradition since the Shadow series.
But you know what? It kind of works. It's
Oh, yes,
still,
it does.
I think, contemporary to its day. I will say British cars have a way in which they do this.
I want one.
So even though this is not the Rolls Royce of yesteryear, you still want one.
I would prefer the older Rolls Royces, but I know that if I was ever in a position to where I could own one of the new ones, that in short order I would learn to love it.
That's real magnanimous of you.
Isn't it?
You can take the car out of Britain, but you can't take the British out of the car.
You may know of Rolls-Royce as the manufacturer of aircraft engines. Well, these engines are a member of a Rolls-Royce engine family known as the Merlin family. And the Merlins were used in World War II to power Spitfires and were very successful and helped win the war for the Allies. They made 3 of these engines that were polished, and these cars went to the Paris Auto Show in 1936, and this is one of them.
Back when I was moving to England, New York City and Los Angeles were doing away with smoking in bars and restaurants. But then when I was moving back from England, it was London that was doing away with the smoking. It seems the front of the Ghost got the memo, but the back, that's a bit of a different story. It's still built for regions of the world where smoking is part of everyday life.
The new Ghost maintains Rolls-Royce's tradition of big brakes. The calipers on this car measure 14.5 inches in height. The shock system is an air-level height control, which is controlled from inside the cab. But unlike earlier Rolls-Royces, the damping is controlled by the car itself. The car senses the road conditions and alters the damping many times per second.
So Mean Gene and I haven't told you the whole story yet. The 1936 Phantom 3 and the 1972 Silver Shadow that you see in this film were both the daily drivers of the late great actor Carroll O'Connor. Yes, Archie Bunker. But the interesting ownership history doesn't stop there. Carroll bought the 72 Shadow from famed automotive collector Bill Harrah. Both cars are cared for today by Carroll's family, who refer to them the same way Carroll did. The Phantom 3, the old man. The 36-year younger Silver Shadow, you guessed it, the young man. Now about the Phantom 3, turns out it was quite the high-tech car in its day. The front shock absorbers were completely enclosed. The driver could advance the timing from inside the car, and the sunshades were pilfered directly from the Royal Air Force. But wait, there's more. It turns out Mean Gene hot-rodded, well, sorta, this very car, but I'll let him tell you about that later in this film. Now, our Ghost extended wheelbase is certainly no stranger to high-tech. Amongst things like adjustable, heated, cooled, and massage rear seats, there's more useful things like the TVs in the back control the navigation system, a heads-up display, and of course, my favorite, night vision.
On this car, you can't really see the whole flying lady. All you see is the top part of her body and the wings.
Yeah, really just the wings.
Because the hood slopes down, and I'm not a tall person, I'm 5'10", and so I have to get up. Even like this, I still can't see the entire statue.
I will say she is nothing like the one in that P3.
Yeah.
I mean, that
well,
kneeling
that's
lady,
the kneeling lady. That's my
that was
favorite.
Wonderful.
That's my favorite. Now the really old ones, the ones on the Silver Ghost, she was standing, but she was standing taller. She was a couple of inches, or maybe an inch taller than the normal standing lady.
Yeah. Going into my visit with the Ghost, I knew modern Rolls Royces were all about presence. What I didn't know was that extended to the key. Now, I'm not saying it's big, but I've had rent-controlled New York City apartments that are smaller.
One day, Carroll O'Connor came to me, and he said he wanted air conditioning on this car. And I said, well, we can't do it because I'm not going to hang an air conditioning unit on my engine. I'm not going to drill holes in it and put brackets and ugly compressors and things. It's just not going to happen. And he said, I got to have air conditioning, and if you won't do it, I'm going to have to find somebody who will. And so I came up with this system of mounting the air conditioning on the input shaft of the transmission, and I made up a double fan belt pulley that one drives the air conditioning compressor, that's this one, and the other one drives this alternator over here. And then I didn't want to hang anything onto the radiator, so I put the condenser under the chassis, and it's mounted here with a 12-volt electric fan pulling air through it. And this system works incredibly well. It's very efficient. No one can see it, no one can find it.
So full disclosure, I made a bit of a mistake on my visit with a Ghost extended wheelbase. I spent too much time here and only one visit back here. But it only took that one time riding in the back for me to realize two things. Number one, that's what this car is all about. Number two, it's good to beat a king.
So Rolls Royces have always been about details, and here's a little detail that the earlier Rolls Royces never had. It's just a thing that allows the double R to stand straight up. Looks pretty tricky, but it's really very simple. It's just a ball bearing, but it is pretty cool, I admit it.
As a car guy, it's a religion to be able to drive myself, so getting to know the Ghost extended wheelbase was a bit of an alien experience. But once I got back here, I realized it's way more than 6 extra inches. It's an entire life experience, no matter what you do. And 8 lands me on go.
No, 8 lands you on boardwalk.
No, on go.
No, boardwalk.
You're just trying to get $50 out of me.